Hello students, today we are going to discuss third part of marketing research process. As marketing research process comprises of a series of steps. We have already discussed step 1 to 6 in first and second part of marketing research process. Today we are going to discuss the last two steps that are analyze the data, interpretation, draw conclusion and make recommendations and prepare research report. So let's start. Analyze the data, interpretation, draw conclusion, and make recommendation. We will discuss this stage in three parts: analysis of data, interpretation, and draw conclusion and make recommendations. Once the field survey is over and the questionnaire have been received, the next task is to aggregate the data in a meaningful manner. A number of tables are prepared to bring out the main characteristics of the data. Deciding which statistical test to use to analyze a set of data depends on the type of data, that is interval or categorical, paired versus unpaired, being analyzed, and whether or not the data are normally distributed. Interval data. Interval data is concerned with both the order and difference between the variables. This allows us to measure the standard deviation and central tendency. Example can be like the temperature is measured in degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius is warmer than 10 degrees Celsius and the difference between the two variables is 10 degrees. The same way categorical data is also called the nominal data. It is a type of data which may be divided into groups. For example, gender. It can be divided into two groups, male or female. So it has categorical data may have two or more categories like male or female. Paired versus unpaired data. Scientific experiments often consist of comparing two or more sets of data. This data is described as unpaired or independent or paired when it arises from the same individuals at different points of time. So the researcher should have a well thought out framework for processing and analyzing the data, and this should be done prior to the collection of data. It is advisable to prepare dummy tables as such an exercise would indicate the nature and extent of tabulation and also the comparisons of data that can be undertaken. A lot of appropriate statistical techniques are applied in order to perform analysis of data. So it's important to have knowledge of these statistical techniques. There are some statistical tools and tests available for data analysis. We have provided these names. Otherwise, these are not covered in your syllabus. These are just for your knowledge. So the statistical tools that are used for data analysis are analytical software packages, SPSS, SPSS MOS, Literal, Visual PLS, and G-Power, etc. And the statistical tests for data analysis are data tabulation and charts, percentile, growth rate, and mean score analysis. These are the univariate tools. Hypothesis testing, chi-square test, ANOVA. These are the bivariate tools. Multivariate data analysis tools like reliability analysis, factor analysis, cluster analysis, discriminant analysis, correspondence analysis, multiple correlation analysis, multiple regression analysis, structure equational modeling, and neural network analysis. Now, the interpretation of results of data analysis. Interpretation of the results of data or the statistical analysis relies on the following points: an appreciation and consideration of the null hypothesis, your experience in reading the results of data analysis, p-values, the concept of statistical significance values, study power, type 1 and 2 statistical errors, the pitfalls of multiple comparisons, one versus two tail test before conducting the study, your research assumptions, expert advice, etc. Conclusion and recommendations. A conclusion is a decision, judgment, and opinion reached after thoughtful analysis and study of data. Based on the data analysis and its interpretation, The researcher has to draw the conclusion and make valuable, significant, and fruitful recommendations. As stated by Ellen Kenney, proficient readers make connections between conclusions they draw and other beliefs or knowledge. Now, the last step of marketing research process, that is prepare research report. Once the data have been tabulated, interpreted, and analyzed, the marketing researcher is required to prepare his report embodying the findings of the research study and his recommendations. As a poor report on a good research will considerably undermine its utility. So it's necessary that the researcher gives sufficient thought and care to its preparation. The researcher should follow the main principles of writing a report. Some of these principles are objectivity, coherence, clarity in the presentation of the ideas, and use of charts and diagrams. The essence of a good research report is that it effectively communicates its research findings. The researcher has to exercise extra care to make the report a useful and a worthwhile document for the management. It is a well-known fact that crafting a marketing research report is an absolute necessary phase of business planning. The sample format of the marketing report is given. First of all, there will be a title page, then table of contents, then an executive summary is provided, and that includes research objectives, statement of methods, key findings, conclusion, and recommendations. Then comes the introduction, research methods and procedures, data analysis and findings, conclusion and recommendations, limitations, and at the last, appendices is provided. So this is the sample format of a marketing report. Finally, the research report is presented to the top management of the organization, like managing director or CEO or the board of directors, to make the decisions based on the findings and recommendations of the research report. The top management decides to either rely on the findings and recommendations. So these were the 8 steps of marketing research process. I hope you must have enjoyed this video lecture. If this video is useful for you, please like the video and subscribe my channel for more such useful videos. Please also watch part 1 and part 2 for complete marketing research process. Thank you.